Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Knoll, and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. This weekend, we saw the first of 4 consecutive supermoons rise over East Tennessee. Here are some of the pictures that you all shared with us. And the August full sturgeon moon was both a supermoon and a blue moon. So let's break down those terms. So the sturgeon moon is the name of the August full moon. It's a supermoon, though, because it means the moon is full at its closest pass to Earth in its orbit. It's also the first of 4 supermoons. We'll have supermoons again in September, October, and November. It was a seasonal blue moon as well, which is the third of 4 full moons in a season. And believe it or not, once in a blue moon happens more often than you think. Our next blue moon happens in May of 2026, but our next blue supermoon doesn't happen for another decade. Also last week, we were treated to the peak of the Perseids meteor shower, and some people even got to see the northern lights. On Sunday night, Stacy Sands told us she was in the pool at her home in Halls looking at the meteor shower when she noticed the sky was turning pink. She grabbed her phone and took these pictures. This is the second time in 2024 that we've been able to see the northern lights in East Tennessee. The first time was back in May. Meanwhile, 1 week after Debbie made landfall on parts of the Carolinas, many communities are still dealing with the lingering impacts. Floodwaters remain high in parts of Charleston County, according to county officials, and water has covered roads and surrounded some homes. Authorities went door to door encouraging residents to relocate, but officials say most residents stayed in their homes. Debbie came ashore in Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, but weakened to a tropical storm as it moved over the southeast. Rescuers from Knoxville are back from helping storm victims in South Carolina. Firefighters with the Swiftwater Rescue Team spent a full week helping with evacuations and home searches following the heavy rain and flooding from Debbie.
We did effect 1 rescue while we were there, so not a lot of activity, but we were there if we were needed, and you know, that's kind of what we do. We're here for when we are needed.
Crews from Knoxville say they are ready to help anywhere they are needed and whenever they are needed. This past week, Hurricane Ernesto tracked across the Atlantic basin. It strengthened to a hurricane after passing Puerto Rico last Wednesday, then made landfall on Bermuda early Saturday morning. This video was taken in the British Virgin Islands as Ernesto swept through, pounding the area with high winds and heavy rain. Ernesto dumped heavy rain on Puerto Rico as well last week, leaving damage from widespread flooding. Thousands of people were without power on the island during the height of the storm, and some areas saw over 9 inches of rain in 24 hours. So let's look back at the track of this storm. Ernesto developed from a tropical wave that came off of the coast of Africa, and it didn't do much as it crossed the central Atlantic. When it got near the Lesser Antilles, though, it entered a much more favorable environment, and that's when it was able to strengthen into a hurricane. It crossed directly over the island of Bermuda. That's only 21 square miles in size, located about 750 miles off the east coast of Florida, but there you go, made it right over the island and now is heading out into the northern Atlantic. NBC's Guad Venegas was in Bermuda when it made landfall and shares the impact.
Bermuda reeling after a direct hit by Hurricane Ernesto. The storm battering the vacation paradise before dawn with fierce winds, torrential rain, and dangerous surf, knocking out power to more than half the island.
This is the force of Ernesto. You can see the boats rocking side to side by the dangerous wind gusts coming in with the storm.
The storm's so powerful, it shut down the international airport, stranding U.S. passengers like Erin Kelly and her family who rode it out at their hotel.
Talk about what it was like.
Were you guys scared? A little bit.
Yeah, but the door was banging all night long. It was a little annoying.
Yeah, tried to put on the sound machine to keep the kids from getting too scared.
Now the big cleanup, both here in Bermuda and in Puerto Rico, where Ernesto packed a punch earlier.
Although Ernesto stayed well away from the lower 48, we are still seeing some of those impacts in the United States. In New York, lifeguards closed beaches because of the strong rip currents, including the beaches in Brooklyn and Rockaways. Another video has emerged showing a house collapsing into the surf in Rodanthe, North Carolina on Friday. The unoccupied home had been threatened for some time and finally gave way thanks to the swells caused by Hurricane Ernesto. No one was inside the home at the time and nobody was injured. Power was cut off to the home the week before it collapsed. And speaking of impactful tropical systems, this week marks 7 years since Hurricane Harvey produced historic rainfall in Texas. It started as a tropical wave off of the coast of Africa on August 13th, 2017, and made landfall on the Texas coast on August 25th. Carl Parker with the Weather Channel takes a look back at the destruction.
In late August of 2017, Tropical Storm Harvey stalled along the Texas Gulf Coast, dropping a staggering 35 to 60 inches of rain. Harvey produced more rainfall than any other tropical cyclone on record in the U.S., and it flooded an area the size of New Jersey. On Saturday, August 26th, Harvey's forward speed had slowed to a crawl, and overnight into Sunday, bands of heavy rain produced as much as 25 inches of rain in Houston, about half of the city's annual average. Most of that 25 inches fell in under 12 hours. That weekend, 10 flash flood emergencies were issued by the National Weather Service in Houston. High water rescues exploded across the city. It was so bad that a Harris County official sent out an urgent plea asking for help from boat owners. Floodwaters swallowed up major roads, including large sections of Interstates 10 and 45. Thousands of people were rescued. 300,000 structures were inundated, along with 500,000 cars. It's unlikely that any other U.S. tropical cyclone caused flooding that was as widespread. The damage was estimated at $125 billion. On top of all that, there were dozens of cases of toxic chemicals being released into the floodwaters, primarily along the Houston Ship Channel. Benzene, vinyl chloride, and other carcinogens were released, along with hundreds of thousands of gallons of industrial wastewater, making an unprecedented storm even worse. Part of what made Harvey so devastating was a weak front draped across the coast as the storm moved in. This focused and intensified the rainfall. But there's also evidence that tropical cyclone rainfall rates are increasing, and 2 studies concluded that Harvey's extreme rainfall was indeed enhanced by warming. Tropical Storm Harvey's very slow forward movement also played a major role in the disaster, and researchers have detected a slowing in the forward speed of tropical cyclones, though this change has not yet been confidently linked to warming. Future storms are projected to produce heavier rainfall and to move more slowly. For highly populous and hurricane-vulnerable cities such as Houston, climate resilience planning is critical.
Now looking at our local forecast, we are getting a brief taste of fall this week with temperatures more typical of what we would see in late September than mid-August. This cool down, though, it's not going to last for long. You got to enjoy it while we have it, as highs will be back into the 90s by the end of this weekend. But speaking of fall, the Climate Prediction Center has released their outlook for the fall season. Their forecast shows confidence in above average temperatures overall for the 3 months of September, October, and November. Those 3 months make up meteorological fall. During that same time frame, the CPC is also showing chances of above or below average rainfall. Let's hope we end up on the above average chance side of that throughout the fall season. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.